Climate change continues to accelerate profound impact on the agricultural sector of the economy. And according to reports, the durations and intensities of rainfall have increased, producing large runoffs and flooding in parts of the country, thereby leading to huge losses caused by irregular rainfall patterns, while farmers decry on what could be devastating for them, that is, if interventions are not proffered. The federal government, on its part, continue to take bold steps to ensure food security by putting mechanisms in place for farmers to reap the fruit of their labor, to build resilience amidst the climate change impact. Some experts, however, say the nation is still grappling with adaptation systems and finding lasting solutions for the challenges faced by farmers in response to shifting climate patterns. But what are the areas of interventions for farmers across the country, especially with the changing rainfall pattern going by the 2025 prediction by NIMET and the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency? We have the land tenure system and outbreak of pests we're hearing in some states. What mitigation strategies are in place by the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security? Our focus tonight is on sowing resilience, Nigeria's 2025 farming season amidst climate change. Our guest is the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi. He will be joining us from our studio in Benin Network Center. We'll bring you situation reports from across states as filed in by our correspondents. In the meantime, thank you for joining us. This is Weekend File. I'm Ruth Aguilera. Now, before we delve into the conversation, we'll begin with the news. The presidency says the latest comments attributed to the African Democratic Congress regarding former President Buhari's state burial are opportunistic, coming from a political party that is seeking relevance. The presidency is responding to what it describes as ADC's recent comments in the public space. Special Advisor to the President of Media and Public Communications, Sunday Dari, observes that the ADC failed to note the way that Buhari was honored with a befitting burial as a statesman. He said the Tinubu administration is neither desperate nor searching for cheap popularity, but would rather allow its growing list of achievements in different sectors to speak for themselves. In other news, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has announced an increase in revenue collection for the month of June. This is a total of 1.8 trillion naira was disbursed among the federal government, state governments and local government councils from the Federation account. A breakdown of the gross statutory revenue shows significant increase, with 3.4 trillion naira received in June 2025, a rise from 1.3 trillion naira compared to the 2 trillion naira recorded in May 2025. However, gross revenue from value-added tax saw a decrease, falling by 64 billion naira from 742 billion naira in May to 678 billion naira in June. The communique further indicates significant increase in companies' income tax, petroleum profit tax, and electronic money transfer levy. However, there were considerable decreases in revenue from oil and gas royalty, value-added tax, import duty, excise duty, and CET levies. The Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative expresses concerns over what it calls unprofessional and misleading report allegedly published in a newspaper. A statement by Matilda Johnson, the brand corporate communications manager of the PCNGI, describes the article in question as a deviation from the principles of ethical journalism and a misrepresentation aimed at attacking a nationally impactful federal government program. It reiterates that since its launch, the PCNGI has facilitated over $800 million in investments, created more than 100,000 direct and indirect jobs, and significantly accelerated the adoption of cleaner, cheaper energy alternatives. As a result, over 100,000 CNG vehicles are operational across Nigeria, a five-fold increase in just 1 year. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa, has challenged the Nigerian Army as key component of the nation's military to continue working towards building a combat-effective force capable of addressing the security challenges across the country. General Musa gave the charge in a message to the 8th Division of the Nigerian Army, Sokoto. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports.
The training is expected to cover issues of stress management, post-traumatic stress disorders, and emotional intelligence for the de-inducted troops and personnel serving in the theaters of operations across the country. This training is therefore coming at the right time, not only to provide better management skills for the Army personnel, but to promote their well-being and guarantee operational readiness.
These battlefield challenges, if left unattended to, could not affect just individual performances and well-being, but also unit cohesion, troops morale, and most importantly, post-service reintegration of our troops.
This training will no doubt offer a unique platform for you, the participants, to deepen your understanding of post-traumatic stress disorder, identify early warning signs, and develop coping strategies that strengthen individual and collective performance.
It is hoped that the training will strengthen the capacity of soldiers in the discharge of their constitutional mandate. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The zonal public hearings on the review of the 1999 Constitution ongoing across 12 states in the country has thrown up interesting recommendations we hear for the wholesome development of law, order and good governance. Ayo Deji Makinde reports.
We'll begin from the International Conference Center in Enugu, where the clamor for an additional state in the Southeast geopolitical zone resonated at the Constitution Review public hearing. The Southeast Zone A wants a new structure comprising Enugu, Ebonyi, and the newly proposed Adada state. National Assembly correspondent Metaire Ikpen reports that the bill seeking special seats for women also received wide acceptance, with emphasis on increased role for traditional rulers, devolution of power, and the proposed removal of minimum wage from the exclusive lists.
We beg you, time comes when God gives you a position that imitates his image.
To restore the functions of the traditional rulers and give us constitutional roles so that we may do better jobs.
You look at the constitution and the countries across Africa, you will discover that Nigeria is at the last ladder of female political representation in the parliament.
The foundation for the unity of this country, of this great nation, lies on how seriously we handle this national assignment.
People are beginning to talk about those things that concern them.
So we are taking them back to the National Assembly so that we can continue the process to see which one will pass and which one will not pass.
At the South Zone A in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri, lawmakers along with stakeholders across the South have called for the adoption of true federalism and a restructured revenue sharing formula. Correspondent Timini Priye Ohia reports that stakeholders also advocated for the creation of state police, noting that constitutional amendments must reflect the values, aspirations and social economic realities of the people, including the proposal of 25 local government areas as against the existing 8 LGAs in Bayelsa State.
Our approach, which is to hold consultations, work with state houses of assembly, work with the governors forum, work with traditional institutions and stakeholders, including civil society organizations.
Have a document that we can all be proud of. A document that will speak to our challenges. A document that will be there, that even the judiciary will protect.
Nigerians eagerly await the legislative procedures to see through their demands after due consideration in the chambers of the National Assembly.
Media organizations play a pivotal role in shaping national consciousness, promoting unity and upholding cultural values. Well, this position was underscored during the official inauguration of the Planning Committee for the 2025 Joint Carol of 9 Lessons, hosted by the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, the Nigerian Television Authority, and the Voice of Nigeria. The Director General of FRCN, Dr. Mohammed Bulama, reaffirmed the corporation's commitment to supporting the committee, emphasizing the importance of collaboration in delivering a successful and impactful event. He stated that FRCN remains dedicated to using its platforms to foster peace and national cohesion through shared cultural and spiritual experiences.
Organizations were people of faith. We believe in God. We all worship the same one God, and that is why every year we make sure that these two events, they are very important to us, and we showcase them in the best possible way we can. And 2025 will not be an exception.
We want Nigerians to be encouraged by this verse in the Bible by St. Paul, that they can do all things through Christ. It's the one that will strengthen them.
The 2025 edition of the FRCN NTA Von Carol of 9 Lessons is scheduled to hold on the 7th of December with the theme, Christ, Our Strength. The event is expected to draw participants from across the country in celebration of faith, unity, and hope. As the nation continues to mourn the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari, Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has shared a solemn moment of grief with her predecessor and widow of the former leader, Aisha Buhari. This was during a condolence visit to the residence of the late former president in Daura. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports.
For the second time in 5 days, Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, touched down at the Musa Yar'Adua Airport, Katsina, the Daura home of former President Muhammadu Buhari, again as a destination. She is here leading a delegation of state governors' wives, ministers' wives, as well as wives of service chiefs to show solidarity with her predecessor, Aisha Buhari, in a moment of grief. Few words spoken, but comforting shoulders were offered by the First Lady and members of her delegation. A brief visit to the graveside of the late national leader for a short prayer was followed by a call on the residence of Alhaji Maman Daura, nephew of the departed leader.
Baba has been a loving father to us. He has served this nation meritoriously, and we know that this will be a very painful time for you. We pray that Almighty Allah will comfort you.
Thank you very much for identifying with us in this very drive. Please convey our gratitude to Mr. President and Mr. Vice President for what they have done.
At the palace of the Emir of Daura, His Royal Highness Alhaji Umar Farouk, the First Lady, commiserated with the people of the Emirate for losing a worthy son.
Him and my family, we share a very deep relationship. So we didn't come here because of our duty of office. I came because my husband has lost an ally, a friend of many years.
Mr. President has shown leadership. He has shown patriotism. He has paid up for friendship. He has supported our late father when he was alive, and he supported him and supported us even after his death.
The First Lady is back in Abuja. From Daura in Katsina State, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
In other news, Sultan Saad Abubakar, the Sultan of Sokoto, attended the Muslim World Leaders Summit at the Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies in Oxford, England. The The 2 days event marked the center's 40th anniversary and featured a gathering of esteemed leaders, including King Charles III, former Turkish President Abdullah Gül, and Saudi Prince Turki Al Faisal. The summit aimed to promote interfaith dialogue, intercivilizational understanding, Islamic finance, environmental issues, and the growth of Muslim youth. Sultan Saad Abubakar emphasized the importance of peace and dialogue in achieving social harmony and peaceful coexistence, reiterating that Islam is a religion of peace. Accompanied by his Sarkin father, Alhaji Kabir Aminu Tafida, the Sultan's participation underscored Nigeria's commitment to global peace and understanding. So, our conversation after the break will be on sowing resilience, the 2025 farming season amidst the climate change. Please stay tuned.
The board, management and staff of Blueprint Newspaper Limited cordially invite the general public to the 2024 edition of Blueprint Newspaper's Impact Series and Awards Ceremony. Theme: Exploring the Potentials of Livestock Exports in Nigeria. Date: July 22nd, 2025. Time: 9 a.m. prompt. Venue: Abuja Continental Hotel, formerly Sheraton Hotel, Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. Keynote speaker: Special Advisor to the President and National Coordinator of the Presidential Livestock Reform Initiative, Professor Atahiru Jega. Royal Father of the Day, Etsunupe Alhaji Yahaya Abubakar, CFR. Signed, Management.
Good, tasty food is worth living for. Worried about your oil every time you enjoy your favorite meal? Introducing Smart Balance. Smart Balance rice bran oil is rich in gamma-oryzanol. Several studies suggest that gamma-oryzanol may contribute to the reduction of bad cholesterol. Golden Terra Smart Balance oil. Good food, no worries.
Guys, food is ready.
Suitable for jollof rice, stew, spaghetti, and yam porridge. Cook to impress.
No buy am. But why? No see say this big bull bag of rice no get the new big bull holographic seal. Not true.
Introducing the Big Bull Holographic Seal Tape, your favorite authentic Big Bull rice, 50 kg and 25 kg. Now with holographic seal tape. This is to ensure you get the premium product from Big Bull Rice. Do not buy if the holographic seal tape is not on the bag or is broken. Big Bull Rice. Tasty rice nourished you.
TerraCube. Unwrap joy. Unleash taste.
When I say golden, you say penny. When I say golden, you say penny. Golden penny. Golden penny. Wake up to breakfast with my golden penny. I enjoy my first choice, nourishing goodness every morning. Oh, Capina play, yummy dishes every day. Mama's recipe they upgrade. Oh, when she's using golden penny. Quality we deliver. Crunchy snacks, golden penny. Serving happiness, nourishing. Golden penny, yummy golden penny, delicious golden penny. Serving. Yummy golden penny, delicious golden penny.
Golden Penny, home of good foods. Serving happiness, nourishing families. Yum!
The rainy season is gradually stabilizing across the country, encouraging farmers to increase agricultural activities. While the north-central states are benefiting from favorable rainfall patterns, farmers in certain areas of the northwest and northeast are awaiting more consistent rainfall. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) predicts delayed and early ending rains in these regions, leading to recommendations for farmers to adopt smart practices such as planting early maturing, drought-tolerant, and pest-resistant seeds. These seeds have been developed by agricultural institutions in the country and are available to farmers.
We used agro dealers and also certified seed companies that we gave seeds for multiplication, and through them, our farmers also accessed our products directly.
However, rising cost of inputs like fertilizer, which now exceed 50,000 naira for a 50 kg bag, present significant challenges for farmers.
Fertilizer is still a bit high. What Mr. President has mandated us to do is to see how we can balance between consumer welfare and also farmer welfare. So we are working on modalities so that we can bring out how we can support farmers and how we can offtake from the farmers.
Already all the fertilizer that we need for the 6,000 hectares we're going to do for this year, we have already purchased all of them. They are on ground. All the input have already been requested for after soil test.
President Tinubu has launched the distribution of 2,000 tractors along with harvesters and other tools, which are set to be deployed in the 2025-2026 planting seasons, promising to enhance agricultural productivity. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And from Benue, we hear mixed reactions trail issues of expected large cultivation and crop production in the state this year due to challenges of insecurity, drought, and resurgence of pests. Farmers and stakeholders express these in Makurdi when they chatted with our correspondent Charles Abba.
It has been on record that Benue State maintains the appellation food basket of the nation due to its all-crop-yielding arable farmland, which gives it a comparative advantage over other states. But challenges of insecurity, drought, and pests like armyworms affecting some farm crops, especially maize, tend to present a different scenario this year.
The issue of armyworm has been a challenge to a lot of farmers, and there are some pesticides used, seems like Farming B. Immediately as you are just spraying on your maize, there direct you'll be seeing the armyworms coming on ground.
Because of insecurity in the state of Benue and largely most states, farmers are unable to even cultivate the land area they have been cultivating before, not to talk about expanding. So I think that there's also a problem there in terms of commodities like rice.
How are the real farmers coping with their farming activities in spite of these challenges?
We don't have money for fertilizer. We don't have chemical things to spray on them. And the farm, like as you can see, the farm we are farming now is like just like a garden.
The insecurity of the nation now. If you want far to go and do it at the bigger place, they will attack you. We are doing it in a small quantity so that we can feed our children.
NIMET actually predicted this and said it at the beginning of the year. The prediction was given. We were told that there will be rain. I want to encourage us as farmers to always adhere and try to listen to these predictions and follow them very smartly.
With the intervention of the Benue State government in supplying farm inputs at subsidized rates to farmers and its synergy with security agencies in taming the tides of insecurity in the state, there is hope for light at the end of the tunnel. Charles Abba, NTA News.
All right, so let's bring in our guests, the Minister of State, Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi. He joins us from our Benin Network studio. Thank you very much for joining us, Honorable Minister.
Very much for having me. A very good evening to all Nigerians.
I'm sure you followed the reports, and going by what some experts are saying, that the 2025 farming season will be impacted greatly because of the irregular rainfall patterns, and we're seeing increase in pests, and of course, which will lead to potential losses. What adaptation strategy has the ministry put in place to help the smallholder farmers, build resilience?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think we should first understand exactly where we are. At the outside, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said it very clearly when he came on board that the nation, Nigeria, is faced by, 3 challenges. You are talking about desert encroachment in the north. You are talking about, the coastal erosion and, impoundment of the, various communities as a result of rising tide of the sea due to climate change. And in the, north central, we are dealing with the issue of floods. And so the challenges of climate change generally means that a lot has to change. And because we realize this, just like I've said now, Mr. President at the highest level understood this, and I think he mentioned this in his address to the United Nations General Assembly when he came on board. Now, what we in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security are doing is to see how we can properly situate these challenges that we are facing. Remember, it is said that a problem known is a problem solved. So the challenges of climate change is real, is here with us, and as a policy instrument or a policy directive or imperative, I think we understood it at the highest level. And so what the ministry is doing is a bouquet of actions that we believe needs to be taken to ensure that we can support our agricultural production system while transforming our agricultural production to the direction of food sovereignty, meaning we should be in total control of how we produce our food, what we produce and what we eat and how we eat it. Now, to do this, we have to take stock of what our country has for us as natural endowment. And here you are talking about the overall land resources, 93 million hectares of land, of which currently only 34 million hectares are being cultivated. But even in that, what we've also realized is that our farmers are not as productive, even within the same hectarage. And so, what are the solutions? For us in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, first we realize having only farming season that is rainy and then dry season is not enough. So what the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is promoting is all year-round farming. And to do this, we are preparing our farmers that have the advantage to produce short duration, varieties, and immediately after that, they can still start a second cycle or bring in another crop that has its own timing at that particular time. And we also go into the main dry season farming. So this all year round farming requires a lot of support, and we realize this, and that is why the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is actually in the forefront of giving us support for the agricultural mechanization program, which will reduce drudgery. But in terms of some of the challenges you have mentioned, yes, as a result of climate change, weather changes is definitely bound to bring new pests and diseases. And so we are responding to all of this because in the first instance, you remember the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development has been created and some departments have left. Now, in the ministry, we have a new department of plant health and pest control, and they are currently designing a very strategic, plan that will enable us to now begin to deal with this issue much more holistically. But suffice it to say that for the, 2025 rainy season, Some of our programs have already made provisions for herbicides, insecticides, pesticides, and all the other support, facilities that farmers will require to do their farming. But what
okay, just conclude your thoughts, Honorable Minister. Go ahead.
Crop varieties that are short duration, disease resistant, and they will give the farmer a high yield. And I think our research institutes are working currently on such kind of disease resistant, and pest resistant, varieties. We are beginning to see progress. In terms of the maize you talk about, the Tiller maize variety has been released. It is short duration. It is actually, resistant to the, fall armyworm that you talked about in your report. And currently, the Institute for Agricultural Research is based in Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, is working to have the multiplication of these varieties so that it can be made available to farmers across the agroecologies. And so we believe with all of these strategies, bringing in our extension service delivery system, bringing in post-harvest management strategies, we'll be able to support farmers to do what is necessary. We acknowledge the fact that, yes, we have the challenge of insecurity, and so we are also bringing in more strategies to deal with this. For example, there is current work going on to look at farming in the institutions like the universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, and the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, my brother and colleague, distinguished Senator Abubakar Kyari, is chairing that committee along with the Minister of Education, the Minister of Livestock Development, and other critical stakeholders. Our intendment here is, while we are losing some land from the insecurity in certain production centers, we should take a look at the available land that are secured, fenced, so that we can also bring them into production. So we are not lying on our horse. We know the dynamics, we have seen it, and I think we are responding to it accordingly.
So if I'll come in there, it's good you've reeled out all the strategies and interventions ongoing by the ministry, and I want to believe it's all part of the climate smart agricultural practices. It's one thing to have the strategies in place, is one thing to ensure that these farmers understand what the government has in store for them. In the aspect of sensitization, what are you strategizing? What is ongoing in that aspect? Because we still hear the complaints that, okay, this is what we're going through from our end and this is what we're going through from our end. So information and access to that information is very important. So what strategies in the aspect of sensitizing them on climate smart agricultural practices?
Very much for bringing this up. Let me say here that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu believes in the whole of government approach. And so within that context, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has intensified its relationship with the subnationals. And when we had our National Council on Agriculture and Food Security, we brought in all of these issues to the fore. And what that translates into is that in working, we are working with the state government who owns the communities where these lands are. And so our intendment here is that whatever we're going to do, working together with them, we'll be able to actually get down to the farmers. Now, suffice also to say that we believe the Nigerian farmers, through their various associations, through the cooperatives that we are currently working to reposition, and through many other stakeholder groupings, will be able to bring all of these issues together. And that also explains why President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved the setting up of what we call the Presidential Food System Coordinating Unit in his office. Here we have state governors, we have critical stakeholders in the farming ecosystem who are brought together to identify common problems and also provide common solutions. This has been ongoing. For example, the issues you've raised about the onset of famine. Yes, we realize that, because we have another instrument, what we call the annual performance evaluation for the rainy season or the dry season agriculture, as it were. This is anchored by the National Agricultural Extension Research Liaison Services. Through that, we are able to gain insight into the proper dynamics as is impacted by the climate change. For example, last year we knew there was a lot of marginal increase in production, except for millet. But then this year brings in a new challenge. And that is why we are encouraging farmers to also listen to the rain pattern prediction, because it's going to be a little bit scattered. But then farmers that are smart, crops that require just early rains, they know that, and I think we're encouraging them to go into such production. But those that will require them to hold on, I think we're advising them to hold on, and I think a lot of extension agents are doing that work. We are supporting these various state governments in terms of training for their extension, and some of the states have taken the lead in increasing the ratio of their extension agents. But in our own part as a ministry, we are currently in the works to establish what we call the Nigerian Electronic Extension Platform, NIP. That is in the works, and we are hoping that through that, we'll be able to reach a number of farmers, because we'll make it available in various languages. And we believe with things like this, farmers will be able to get the required information they need. But one thing that is also certain is the issue of post-harvest losses. And we require that if we can bring down the post-harvest losses, that will be a tremendous gain to the Nigerian farmer. What we have done here is to respond to this challenge by bringing in what we call the Post-Harvest Connect. The Post-Harvest Connect brings in all experts within the ecosystem of post-harvest management. And this is the second year we are doing that. And with that, we are able to bring in technologies that farmers will be able to utilize. Because like you said, information is key. And if these informations are not made available, farmers will not know about it.
Indeed, Honorable Minister, sustainable, strategies calls for strategic actions, and we're glad we're hearing this coming from you. But we'll pick up with the conversation. We have to take a break. By both the federal and state governments to revitalize the agricultural sector in Edo State appear to be yielding positive results. Well, from reports we're getting, the availability of agripreneur incentives has attracted more youths to the field, giving the state's agricultural story a unique twist. Obehi Apreze reports.
State boasts a diverse range of crops, including oil palm, cassava, rubber, and pineapples. The establishment of 2 Songhai-styled integrated farm projects by the federal government and periodic training of farmers, especially youths and women, on agricultural best practices are parts of efforts to enhance agricultural productivity, food security, and economic development in the state.
We have variety of crops and seeds and seedlings that are now basically designed or breeded for smart agricultural practices.
Cattle headers, and they always come to the farm, destroy our goods, especially during the harvesting period.
I want to also appeal for the support for farmers in general, like the area of input empowerment that Edo State is known for.
Experts advocate provision of modern irrigation system to aid intense dry season farming for farmers affected by flooding during the rainy season. Farmers in Edo State are employing to mitigate challenges of climate change and insecurity. With a greenhouse farm like this farmer in Benin cultivates his crop all year round. In Benin, Obehi Apreze, NTA News.
All right, thank you, Obehi. And of course, still staying in Benin there, where the Honorable Minister is. Honorable Minister, we're seeing good practice there from Benin, of course, which I'm sure other states are replicating. But very important, the intervention in the aspect of seedlings, provision to farmers, and also inputs like fertilizers and all. I know there's free fertilizer distribution ongoing. But what is the updates regarding that, especially for the inputs?
Kudos to what you just reported. Definitely, as part of the response to climate change and to building national resilience, we have many programs that are looking at this. The initiative of the First Lady, Her Excellency Distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the Renewed Hope Initiative, which I think was also reported in this in the Edo report, is clearly one of the things the ministry has taken on board. Last year, we worked with her office, and this year we have transformed that program into what we call urban agriculture. And this is to enable us have people looking at the possibility of having gardens in their homes. Now, what that means is that they will be requiring improved seed varieties, and the National Horticultural Research Institute in Ibadan has been given that matching order, and just this year, for the first time, they've released certain improved varieties of pepper, and then even the variety that is actually resistant to Tuta absoluta, which is one of the pests that has actually devastated the tomato production. So some of these things we are doing, as far as we are concerned, is to respond to what the climate change challenges are bringing onto our farming. And like you said, if you want the youth to be part of agriculture, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not made any mistake in identifying the fact that we need to bring the youth into it. And the mechanization, the tractors you are just seeing from Belarus are all designed to be, attractive. And you remember in his, launching of the tractor, he actually said he wants agriculture to be more appealing when he referred to agriculture being more sexy. And I think that is the point. We want it to be appealing to farmers, to young Nigerians. And I think to do that, you need to improve more or strengthen what we call the control environment agriculture. The so-called greenhouses, the hydroponics, aeroponics, and all the phonics you can talk about. This is precision agriculture, where you are helping farmers to target production system that will deliver the right nutrient, the right water to their crops, and that way they can get definite yield based on such kind of good agronomic practices. So we are strengthening the capacity of the system to train farmers, because farmers that have competency, that have the knowledge, are able to use this to do a better production. And that way, the productivity of our farms will increase. I give you an example. Nigeria is the world #1 producer of cassava. But if you check before now our yield, the average is just about 11 tons per hectare. Yet we have varieties that can give you 40 or even beyond. But we thank some of the challenge, interventions we are doing now. We are having farmers that are now coming on board to take up the challenge of doing the good agronomic practices to be able to get higher yield. And I think this is the way to go. Our farmers, when they have these improved varieties, backed up with the good agronomic practices, and supported with some of the inputs that government at all levels, both from the federal and states, are given, I think that will be a welcome development. At the last count, I want to say this, that the subnationals, the various states, we have seen that based on the programs they have all been doing, so far also collectively, they have introduced more than 2,000 tractors into the farming ecology. And I think that is great for us, because before now, the mechanization rate in Nigeria is one of the lowest in Africa, put at about 0.27 horsepower per hectare. That is unacceptable. And so with what we have now from the federal and the state, we are set to actually move our mechanization rate towards 2 horsepower per hectare.
Honorable Minister, what about the aspect of data, collation of data, so you know what you're working with?
Environment. For example, we are having a program that is designed to look at the ease of doing agriculture. What are the pain points of Nigerian farmers? What are those things that is stalling them from production? And I think we are working very hard on that. Remember also, NADA has been reinvigorated. That is the National Agricultural Land Development Authority. They are working together with us. They are in the presidency, but we are working together to see that they are able to bring more land into production through their own intervention. So overall, let me say that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has shown commitment to agriculture, And we have worked very hard in the last 2 years to see that we stabilize the food prices, bringing it down, but then we really want to move towards not just sustainable food security, but food sovereignty. And that is what we are working for. And we believe it's achievable because we have all it takes to do that, including the political will, as exemplified by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR.
Right. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that renewed vigor, giving hope again to Nigerians and ensuring food security is ensued across the country. Thank you for coming on Weekend File. We do appreciate. All right, let's take a break. Thank you for being there. On the global scene, Maurice Kamto, one of President Paul Biya's critics, has submitted his candidacy for the October presidential election in Cameroon. Just as Cuba removes age limit for presidential candidates, Chukunonso Nwabweze has details for us.
According to a list published by election authorities, Maurice Kamto has submitted his candidacy for October's presidential election. Kamto, 71, who came second to Biya in the 2018 presidential election, will stand for the African Movement for New Independence and Democracy, MANIDEM. The party's leader, Ancient Ekane, confirmed to the media. In 2018, Kamto stood for the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, MRC, but Ekane said he will resign from the party to join MANIDEM, a party founded in the 1990s and rooted in Pan-Africanism. The 92-year-old Biya is seeking an 8th term in office and has been in power since 1982. So far, 19 candidates have signed up to stand in the October 12 election, including former Prime Minister Bello Buaba Maigari, an ally of Biya for nearly 30 years, and Issa Bakari, who resigned as Employment Minister in early June to submit his candidacy. The definitive list of candidates will be announced in early August. In other news, Cuba has removed age limit for presidential candidates in a reform approved by the National Assembly. The 2019 Constitution had set it at 60 years for first-time contenders. The 5-year term is renewable once, while the minimum age of 35 remains unchanged. The approved constitutional reform is a legitimate and fair act, says Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel. It responds to the current realities of the country and stays true to our history, he added. Chukunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.
And time to find out what's happening in the world of sports. Ayo Deji Makinde said. Ayo?
Yes, Ruth, thanks so much. We'll begin with the women's game. That's in basketball, where Nigeria's D-Tigress have commenced preparations in Abuja for the 2025 FIBA Women's Afro-Basket Championship. Head coach Rena Wakama joined 14 players in an early training ahead of the tournament in Abuja, Côte d'Ivoire. The camp marks the start of Nigeria's campaign to defend the continental title, having won the last 4 editions of the tournament on a bounce. Let's cross over to football, where Nigerians are urging the Super Falcons to avoid complacency when they play against either South Africa or Senegal in the semi-final of the tournament on Wednesday. The record African champions are chasing an unprecedented 10th title tagged Mission X. Justin Madugu's side are yet to concede a goal in 4 matches, scoring 9 goals, including 5-0 demolition of Chipolopolo of Zambia.
The energy was superb, and they came out to win, and they actually did. Like 5-0 was a huge one. Yeah, so I think they should keep it up.
So I expect that they will maintain that momentum, ensure that they use the wings. The midfield is looking quite strong. The girls are in the right mood, the right spirit. So, I mean, the sky is not just the limit.
Of course, the 4th quarter final of the match between South Africa and Senegal just ended goalless. And of course, I would expect some time added in that match for it to decide the winner would face Nigeria. Let's tell you that Barcelona and Manchester United are in a broad agreement to sign England forward Marcus Rashford on a loan deal, including an option to buy. The 27-year-old academy product has been out of favour at Manchester United since the appointment of Ruben Amorim, and often had issues with his predecessor, Erik ten Hag. Rashford spent the second half of last season on loan at Aston Villa, where he scored 4 goals and registered 5 assists in all competitions. And in boxing, Daniel Dubois says he's coming for redemption in tonight's undisputed heavyweight title fight with Alexander Usyk in London. Usyk stopped Dubois in 2023, but Dubois now holds the IBF title after an explosive run through Anthony Joshua, Regovic and Miller. The winner takes all WBC, WBA, WBO and IBF titles, which are on the line tonight. That's your sports. It's back to Ruth.
Many thanks, Ayo. You have to wait, so we check out the weather update for tomorrow together. Let's do that.
The forecast. Sunday is shaping up to be a calm day across the country, but parts of Adamawa, Taraba, Kaduna, Sokoto and Kebbi may experience some early morning thunderstorms. As we head into the afternoon, expect widespread thunderstorms with moderate rainfall to sweep across the northeast and northwestern region. Light rain showers are anticipated in the central cities, with some activity also expected in parts of the southeast and south-south regions. And that's all for now. I'm Sefia Inusa. Thank you for joining us.
All right, I'm excited because for lovers of ice cream like myself, tomorrow is our day, July 20th, National Ice Cream Day. I didn't know that. So get yourself out there and enjoy a large scoop of ice cream because the day provides you the opportunity to really indulge without any guilt or shame. And while you're at it, try coming up with your own flavors. There are lots of tasty and incredible ice cream recipes online, so why not try your hands at creating your own ice cream? You may even decide to simply throw out the rule book and add all the flavors you love the most to see what the outcome is. I'm curious. So, well, that's the size of our offering on Weekend File this week. I'm Ruth Aguwele. Have a good night rest. Bye.